we're at the DMZ. So that means the demilitarized zone. So this is a little brief history about the DMZ. Sorry, you can hear a bus going over there. A little brief history about the DMZ. So take you back from when Japan ruled Korea from 1910 to 1945. Then after 1945, obviously the Hiroshima bomb, the atomic bomb, Japan were defeated by the Americans. So that meant then that the rule of Japan ended in Korea. So the Koreans are the most weakest at the time. So what happened was the Americans took the south side and the Soviets took the north side. Now what happened was they established a capital in the south called Seoul, as obviously you know today. It's the capital of South Korea. And then in the north is Pyongyang, which is the capital of North Korea. So for around about 3 years, they lived relatively in peace, kind of. And then in 1948, tensions started to boil. What happened was then the leader Kim Il-sung, he tried to get weaponry off the Soviets because he knew they needed more weaponry to attack the south. And Stalin rejected this idea a few times. Eventually then in 1950, Stalin agreed, but he said you need permission from the Chinese, and they got the permission from the Chinese. So I think it was around about June time, don't quote me on this, but I think it was around about June 1950 that the North attacked South Korea. So a full-on invasion in 1950, backed by the Soviets. So what happened was then in 1950 when they attacked, I think it took them around about 3 days to capture Seoul, which is really, really quick. And Seoul's only around about 45 kilometers away from the DMZ. So what happened was then, everyone had to retreat to Busan in South Korea. And the Americans then ended up helping the South Koreans. They pushed all the way back up to Pyongyang and even took Pyongyang at one point. So yeah, they were on the ascendancy. And then China helped North Korea again then, so they pushed back then. And in the end anyway, they signed the truce agreement in 1953, around about July time. I'm not 100% sure on the date. July the 27th, yes, Jeremy just told me. July the 27th, 1953 was when they signed the agreement. And then they created a DMZ zone, which is where we're at today. So the DMZ, it's 250 kilometers long, which is quite a long way. What's this bus somewhere now? Yeah, so 250 kilometers long. And then it's a buffer point on each side. So it's around about 2 kilometers for the South Koreans and then 2 kilometers for the North. That's right, Gemini? Yeah. Around about that. And then, yeah, they got the joint security area, which is a little 3 box buildings you'll see, where they'll, well, pretty much where they signed the agreement of peace. And that's the line. You've probably seen Donald Trump step into North Korea a good few years back now when he met Kim Jong-un. But yeah, the first leader of North Korea was Kim Il-sung. And yeah, it's pretty much a little brief history about it. We're going to explore around and I'm going to tell you a bit more information about it. Some parts we can't film in now as well, so I might have to just show you pictures or little video clips I found online. But yeah, hope you enjoy.
So now we are here, DMZ Peace Park. After this part, we're gonna cross this bridge. We call this bridge is Unification Bridge. After this bridge, we're gonna go to the first third infiltration tunnel, and the second is observatory, and the last one is the Unification Village, and and then after the village, we're gonna go to the Kamaksan Mountain for the rest of special bridge, and then back to the town. So we call DMZ, demilitarized zone. Nobody go inside, but today we are tourists, so we could go inside the DMZ. And when you get the third tunnel, you could go underground and walk to the north side and then back to the surface. When you get the third tunnel, don't keep going to north, okay? South is better. Don't go to North Korea. South is better. And the second place is observatory. When you get the observatory, we could see North Korean territory. Here is the 100-meter South Korean flagpole, 100-meter, and the other side here, 163-meter flagpole. The North Korean one is a blue color, and South Korea is a green color flagpole. And under the South Korean flagpole, there's a small village we call Daesangdong village. This village is a real village. The real Koreans, South Koreans live there. And under the North Korean flagpole, there's a small village too. There is a fake village, so nobody live there. So when you get to observatory, we could see two tallest flagpoles in Korea and 2 small villages inside DMZ. And then here is Panmunjom, JESA. Do you know JESA?
Joint security area.
Yeah, right. So joint security. In 50, North Korea troops, they cross border with many weapons. So they captured this hall within 3 days. And then my government moved to the Busan city. Busan is here. So when they moved to the Busan city, UN force, they joined the Korea War to help South Korea. So they joined the Korea War and they decided to land in Incheon. Incheon city. Incheon is here, right next to Incheon is here. So UN first, they went to the Incheon from Busan. At the same time, South Korea first, we made a big battle near Busan city. During the big battle, one of the young soldiers died near Busan. And the UN force, they successfully landed in Incheon and they recaptured Seoul within 2 weeks. So starting with this, our troops could go up to north and north. So we captured the captured Pyongyang city and go more and more north. So when we get almost a border between China and North Korea, China is here. China. A little bit Russia here and Japan here. So when they get almost border between China and North Korea, China they start to help North. So they send many troops again and again. So UN force and South Korea force, we push back down again to south and south. So when you get near border 30th period, there are many battles between China North and UN force, South Korea first. So a lot of soldiers killed again and again, and also many citizens died a lot too. So we made a ceasefire in 1953. So after the ceasefire, Korean Peninsula have been divided to two Korea, the South Korea and the North Korea. This is a Korea War story. We can see an old train here. We call this train is the Changdan train. Because we found that this one is the Changdan station inside the DMZ. So it was a cargo train during the Korea War, so it was carrying military supplies to North for UN force. So all of a sudden, Chinese troops, they found that this one is Changdan station, and they made a stop. So after the UN force, they blew up this train because they didn't want it used by Chinese troops and North Korean troops. So they blew up this train. So now we can see many bullet marks on the surface. So my government thought this is a historical heritage. So that's why we brought this train from DMZ to here, DMZ Peace Park. So we could feel the sadness of the Korea War, and also we could feel urgent time during the Korea War. So that's why we brought this train to here. And then on your right side, back side, you can see many color ribbons on the wire fence. Looks like really beautiful, but it's a kind of sad ribbon. We call that ribbon is the wishing ribbon, wish ribbons. When separate family they visit here, they wrote down their wish. They write down their wish on the ribbons and hang on the wire fence. So they say like, "Are you still there? Are you still alive? I'm waiting for you. I really want to get reunification," like that wish on their ribbon. Because they believe when wind blow, wind bring their message to the restriction. So that's why now we could see the many wishing ribbons on the wire fence. And also, do you see over there warning sign on the wire? Freedom break. Before Korea War, there are many ways to get north, but after ceasefire, there's no way to get North Korea. But we need to build a new way to get north because of exchanging of freedom war. So we restored this wooden bridge to connect to North Korea. After that, over 12,000 people they went back to South Korea for freedom. So that's why we call this bridge as a freedom bridge. Also, there's another bridge, Norita. We call Norita bridge. That bridge was for the North Korean troops because they wanted to back to their home, North Korea. So we made a new bridge for them, and then they crossed that bridge and went back to North Korea. So that's why we call that bridge as the Norita bridge. Norita bridge is in the JESA, Joint Secretariat. So actually, before 1970s, we could share this area. South Korea soldiers and North Korea soldiers, they cross the border only inside the JESA. There's a real border, MDL. But there was a tragic incident in 1976. U.S. Army, they were cutting trees in JESA because that trees bothered their vision, so they were cutting trees. But all of a sudden, North Korean soldiers, they came then and they warned, you cannot cut this tree. This is a rule in JESA, don't touch trees, and back to their office. But U.S. Army, they ignored them and keep cutting trees again and again and again. So North Korean soldiers, they came back and then they killed the U.S. Army with an axe. We call this incident as the axe murder incident. So after that tragic incident, we couldn't share this area. So nowadays, if you go to the JESA, you can see the South Korea soldiers and North Korea soldiers. They're facing each other along the rear border, MDL. And also the South Korea soldiers who work in JESA, they have to be really tall and a big body because we want to make them scared. So that's why they have to be really, really tall. And also they are handsome guys too. Really handsome. So they're they always want to get reunification because they really miss their hometown and family there. But young people, so not all of them, so many of young people, they don't want to be reunified with North Korea. Because as you know, North Korea, they're communism, South Korea, they live on democracy. Actually, so North Korean government, they call themselves communism, but that is not real communism. They always brainwash the people, and the people believe Kim Jong-un is like a god or the king, so that is not real. This train is a peace train. This is for fun, not meaningful. This is only for fun. But you can see the many national flags on the train. The nation during the Korea War. So you can find out your nation on this train.
Oh, that's the thing, babe. What's up, babe? Yeah. I see the cable car. I didn't see the cable car. See, look.
It's got its own charm.
Yeah. Looks like North Korean soldiers standing on a bridge of no return, babe.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. Checkpoint. So we're about to enter the bunker. Here we go. There's the bunker. So here we have a M15 anti-tank mine. Hopefully not still active. Exploding by 130 kilograms of pressure, and it weighs 14 kilograms. Cool. So there's a really funny story about the flagpoles. South Korea had a bigger flagpole. So North Korea responded by making a bigger one again. I think it started like 30, then 32 meters, and it kept on going back and forth, until eventually South Korea made a 100-meter one, and North Korea said, right, we're going to make a 160-meter flagpole, and they won the war. But it's a really funny story of the back and forth they had with that. Oh, the DMZ, look.
So around 34,000 defectors. So they told South Korean government how they escaped North Korea. So they usually use the border between North and China because DMZ area has a lot of landmines, so they could cross this line. So they usually use the border between North and China. So there's a small river. So they cross the river during the early morning, like 2 or 3 a.m. Because a few years ago, Kim Jong-un he ordered all of the North Korean soldiers. If you look at even a person who tried to get back to North Korea, to shoot them. So escaping North Korea is extremely dangerous. So if they success, they have to go to the south part of the China. Because as you know, Chinese government they're really close to North Korea, so they couldn't live there. So they cross border to other countries. The first they cross to the Laos, but Laos government also quite close to North Korea, so they have to cross border to other countries. Another one, so Thailand. So when they get Thailand, they need to go to the immigration camp. So they could stay there for 2 months. After the 2 months, they could get jail for 2 or 3 months because they cross border without passports. So that's why they could get jail for 2 or 3 months. After that 3 months, South Korea might go on. We take them from Thailand to South Korea. So when they arrive at South Korea, they could get education from my government for about capitalism and liberal democracy and how they use the.
So there are many secret tunnels found as well, which North Korea dug to try and attack the south, which got discovered. The most famous one is the third tunnel. So this is the third tunnel from the outside the wall. See the sign? Can't film inside, but this one got discovered by someone who defected North Korea. So they go into the south and they told them, look, they're doing secret tunnels to try and attack. And yeah, they found that in 1978 then, so that's probably the most famous one. I'll just show you a little diagram of it by ear then. So that's the walkway. Termination point, interception tunnel, monorail platform. Yeah, so you can pretty much see. And then lots of restricted area then, which goes into North Korea then. You can see like the divide, North Korea. Be at around about 30,000 soldiers in that tunnel, and it take them 1 hour to get everyone over and attack, and they get all their weaponry in there as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much a little information about the tunnel. I think they had around about 4 tunnels discovered in total, but they believe there's plenty more as well, but they just haven't been discovered yet. But yeah, that's the third tunnel.
The world's only demilitarized zone, DMZ, is a place that bears the tragedy of the time and the past. On June 25, 1950, the invasion of South Korea by the North began with earth-shattering sounds of artillery. Although North and South Korea established their own governments after World War II, the peace didn't last long. Revealing its ambition to conquer South Korea, North Korea started the Korean War in alliance with the Soviet Union. The war had turned the entire nation into ruins, resulting in over 3.9 million deaths. This war among Koreans was a true tragedy. After 3 years and 1 month, the Korean War ended with the Armistice Agreement signed in Panmunjom on July 27, 1953. It led to the formation of the DMZ around the military demarcation line to prevent the war from starting again. But even after the Armistice Agreement, North Korea dug underground tunnels below the demarcation line in order to invade South Korea. On November 15, 1974, an underground tunnel was discovered 1.2 kilometers south of the demarcation line, which is 8 kilometers northeast of Gwarampo, Yeoncheon, Gyeonggi-do. This is the first tunnel. On March 24th of the following year, 1975, the second tunnel was discovered 13 kilometers north of Cheolwon, Gangwon-do. 1978, the third tunnel was found. Discovered 435 meters south of the demarcation line, which is 4 kilometers south of Panmunjom, the third tunnel is big enough for 30,000 soldiers and artillery to pass through within 1 hour. Within the tunnel, there were clear evidences of the tunnel being planned to be used to invade South Korea. On March 3, 1990, the fourth tunnel was found 26 kilometers northeast of Yeonggu, Gangwon-do. North Korea was intending to use these underground tunnels for simultaneous full-scale attack on multiple fronts, causing critical damage to South Korean forces and nationwide panic. In addition to the 4 tunnels already discovered, it is expected that there are many more tunnels that haven't been found. North Korea is provoking us endlessly, using tunnels underground, as well as on land and sea. North Korea's provocations are becoming ever more aggressive and intricate. The attack on naval ship Cha and bombing of Yeongjong-do in 2010 was more than provocation. It was a declaration of war. And above the tunnels, there is the DMZ. Land of life, paradise of migratory birds, and for everlasting peace. The DMZ lives on. The DMZ is a paradise for moose, goats, and wild flowers. From Chinese geese to eagles, and rare birds such as white cranes, herons, and black-faced spoonbills. The DMZ is a land of life, where wild animals live in harmony. The miracles of DMZ is now changing once again and spreading its popularity in the world. Developed into a tourist destination, the areas around the DMZ will heighten our security awareness and offer tremendous opportunities for people to coexist with nature. Beyond preservation of the ecosystem and tourism for emphasizing the importance of national security, the DMZ is becoming a symbolic space for the era of unification. Our painful history is buried in the DMZ and tunnels, but this is just another meeting for the hope and desire of reunification. We should learn the lesson that our painful history must not be repeated. Korea has overcome the pain of war and achieved miraculous economic growth. And another miracle that we must achieve as we pursue harmony and coexistence.
Yeah, go on, yeah. Oh, look, divided, look. The third tunnel. We got Jangdang soybean ice cream. $6 man. Again. That's a nice one.
You can take many photos. So the other side is better for photo.
Oh, the other side's better, okay. We're walking across the suspension bridge. Not a bad view. So we're walking back over the suspension bridge. Incredible views, as you can see. Look at that. Not bad.
This is Panmunjom. Panmunjom lies on the military demarcation line of the Korean Peninsula. It witnesses the most serious tragedy of the division of the country and the most acute confrontation of war or peace. Panmunjom began to be known widely to the world when the US imperialists bent their knees to the people in the Korean War, signed an armistice agreement. It attracts the attention of the world, and usually visitors to Korea call that Panmunjom. This is the conference room for ceasefire negotiation. In this room, ceasefire talk took place between the Korean People's Army and the US imperialists during the Korean War. The conference room is 1 kilometer south from the northern border of the demilitarized zone. Now in the room, there are preserved the table and chairs used by the senior and other delegates of the Korean and US sides as they were. The armistice talk took place between July 10, 1951 and July 19, 1953. This is the building for signing the armistice agreement. When the armistice talk reached an agreement on ceasefire and its machinery, the US side proposed holding a ceremony of signing the armistice agreement quietly in a temporary tent out of door. It was because the US imperialists were afraid that future generations might see the place where they signed a surrender document after suffering a shameful defeat in the Korean War. In defiance of the sinister intention of the US imperialists, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea saw to it that the building, with an area of over 200 square meters, was set up in 5 days. And so, a ceremony of signing the armistice agreement was held here. As a result, this building remains as a witness of history. In the building, there are preserved the table of signing the armistice agreement, chairs, flags, documents, and other materials. This is Conference Room District. In front of Common Pavilion, a building of the DPRK, there stand 7 buildings, which were used as conference rooms of the Military Armistice Commission and the Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission in the past. In the center of the building, there stands a table crosswise, and on the table there are lying microphones along its middle line. Just it is the military demarcation line, a symbol of Korea's division. Between the buildings, a 40 centimeter wide and 7 centimeter high concrete marker is laid in a line with microphones in the building, thereby forming the demarcation line. The military demarcation line is 246 kilometers long in total.